Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to TìandTarot, or welcome back to TìandTarot if you've been here before. So, today's reading is coming to you from a new location because I'm at somebody else's house. So enjoy today's reading. Well, me and Kit actually, we're both still here. She just walked into the kitchen if you heard the floorboard creak. But we're both here today, so you still get the two of us. But today's reading is all about the next person you're going to meet. It's someone new. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic reading. It can be anybody. It could be somebody like a mentor. It could be someone like a friend. It could be a partner. It could be anybody. But the point is they have quite a significant impact on your life, whether that's how they've influenced you, inspired you, or interacted with you. So we've got 3 piles for you to choose from today. Pile 1. Pile 2 and pile 3. There are several ways you can pick your pile. You can pick your pile based on the energy of the pile, you know, the one that you're most intuitively drawn to, based on the number of the piles, so we've got 1, 2 and 3, based on the numbers in the timestamps below, in the description box, or based in the zodiac signs also in the description box below. Or you can pick your pile based on the card or object or crystal on top. I will add crystals in a mo if you like to choose that way. So here are the crystals. Okay, so these are the crystals that we have for you today. These are also not my crystals, which is why you've probably never seen them before if you're someone who comes on this channel a lot, or if you're subscribed and you watch me and my videos a lot. You'll know these aren't my regulars, but you know, I'm using what I got to hand, okay? So, so for pile 1, we have some clear quartz. For pile 2, we have some amber. And for pile 3, we have some red tiger's eye. Once you have picked your pile, there will be a timestamp in the description box below for you to find your reading more easily, and I will meet you there. Bye. Oh, also, for the cards on top, for pile 1 we have the Hound, for pile 2 we have the Guide, and for pile 3 we have the Champion. Okay, hello my pile 1s, welcome to your reading. So you chose the clear quartz and the Hound as well as these 2 tarot cards. So the Hound says loyalty, chains and promises as keywords, and these are your tarot cards. By the way, if any of you are wondering why I've got scratches on my hands when I usually don't, it's because my senile childhood pet is here and she is very old with lots of arthritis and dementia. She doesn't quite know where she is, but she has to be carried a lot of places she needs to go. So she's a lady of luxury, alright? So she likes to go outside, but be carried there, sit on her pillow, and then be carried inside. So, and she doesn't really know where she is. So that's why the scratches are there. But anyway, for your tarot cards, you have the Ace of Cups and the 5 of Swords. Whoever this is, they're a very guarded person. They're a lone person, a lone wolf. You know, we've got the Ace of Cups, which can represent independence, the self-love. And then we've got the Hound here, where we're seeing 1 sword and 1 hound kind of battling it out, 2 opposing forces. And again, over here with the 5 of Swords, usually you would see kind of 3 swords off to the side and 2 over there. And you are seeing that. I can definitely see that they're kind of aligning these 3 swords and those 2 with the illustration. But what's more so standing out to me is that this person is kind of hovering over this 1 sword. And there seems to be this halo around them, like they're this chosen person. And it feels like this is kind of a lone chosen person type figure. And with the dove there in the Ace of Cups, I'm definitely seeing that they are a peaceful person. They are somebody who hopes for the best, hopes for a bright future, and they're not jaded by anything they've experienced or been through, but they are quite guarded nonetheless because they've been through a lot, and they are, no matter how peaceful, ready to fight and defend themselves and their boundaries regardless. if someone wants to kind of push them or test them, they are willing to fight back. Even if, by default, they are a peaceful person, their environment determines whether or not that peaceful side gets to reign the most. So for that kind of reason, this is someone who maybe off the bat, they're quite closed off, they're quite guarded. You can see clearly that they're not afraid to stand up for themselves. But I think you see a lot that you value in this person, because it almost feels like this person gets chosen or picked in some kind of way. And it could be that just means that the life they're gonna live is quite eventful. They seem to be like, their life could literally be a book. It's so exciting and eventful in that sense. But it could also mean that you, because this is a reading about a person coming into your life, you pick them. There's something about them you really like. You can see clearly that this person has a lovely, pure soul, pure spirit. You can see it in their aura. You can see it in their energy. Even if they're shut off from the world and they're quite isolated and alone, and you can see like they don't have many people around them, there's this aura around them that feels really positive. Even here you can see, as the Hound is kind of standing up for itself, it's creating this aura here, this white circle that is pushing, a force pushing against this sword and all of its like sharp little splinters here. I think it's a case where you see that in action. I think you see them be the Hound and you really admire them for that. Like, you can see that they get pushed and pushed and pushed beyond their limit, kind of bullied, kind of picked on, and when they kind of fight back, you are quite inspired by that and you find that very admirable, and it kind of piques your curiosity in them. And I think once you get to know them, you realise, especially here with the chains, it's not that they are this, you know, kind of controversial person who seems to always be getting into arguments. It's not like they're the initiator. This is their actual default, but scenarios and environmental factors are forcing them to kind of be that person, and you can see they're kind of bound to the environment that they're in. You also see a lot of things you really like about them. I think this person sticks true to their vices, to their ethics, their morals, their values, and their boundaries, and that's something you really appreciate about them, and I think it's something you want to learn from them as well. You can see that this is a very loyal person. Once you're their friend, once you're kind of someone of value to them, they're very loyal to you, and they're loyal to themselves as well and their own values, vices, and you can see that very clearly. They say what they mean. You know, they're not going to make you a promise and then break it. This is someone who's very dedicated and very loving as well. However, I do think... Hold on, I made a tea and I bloody forgot it. I just remembered because I am parched, okay? Jesus. Kind of cold now, but whatever. So, that's one of Kit's cat hairs there. So something I will say, while I'm getting a really good energy from this person in terms of how they interact with you, because you're getting underneath this to their true nature. And by the way, when I'm sort of saying you're getting underneath this, it's not that you're having to like, it's not like this is like a horrible person and you're having to like peel back the layers of the onion to get to the good person. No, they're always coming across as a good person. I want to make that so clear. Don't like go out there and think that trashy, shitty people who you meet are like just works in progress that you could change or work on. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can see that this person maybe doesn't fit in socially or isn't very popular, or, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just they seem to be rejected in a lot of scenarios. And so you take a chance to get to know this person and see that they are very lovely and that the world is just, you know, not a very friendly place. It's a very obvious situation like that. It's not like you have to kind of figure out why this has happened. It's like quite obvious where it's just like a bullying scenario where this person doesn't fit in. It's not that they are horrible to be around and you have to put up with that to get to a good bit. Just want to make that clear. But something I will say is that even though it's kind of like if you had a colleague at work and you could see that management was picking on them on a lot of stuff, and then one day they stood up for themselves, you would then be like, I like that bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a case where it's like this person is horrible, if that makes sense. But something I will say is that with this sword here, they're always ready. They're always ready to fight. They're kind of in fight or flight. They're almost in overthinking, overanalyzing mode, to the point where they're so kind of stressed by everything. And it's not the kind of good stress that motivates you, it's the kind of bad stress that makes you always look over your shoulder. Because they've got that stress, they're kind of quick to assume, I guess, that people are starting on them when they might not be, or maybe even quick to assume that there is ill intention behind a criticism of them when there isn't. I do think they're open to discussions, like I think they're open to hearing out if somebody has true intentions or not, but I just think from the offset they assume everyone's going to start with them, something's going to happen today. Like, they've kind of got this like jaded energy a little bit, even though at heart they just want to be peaceful, they just want to be left alone, and they want to spread love and joy and be like a social butterfly. The environment they're in hasn't really allowed for that to happen. So I want to find out who this person is to you. Like, you know, colleague, friend, why are they important? How are they going to kind of inspire you or influence your life in an impactful kind of way? Oh, okay, so we have the Hanged Man. We have Temperance. Some big energy here. Definitely like this really lovely, peaceful person, for sure. We have the Empress, yeah. So, such a lovely person, such lovely energy. And we have the Magician as well. Okay, so this is quite interesting because something I'm seeing here, these are all like figures that are facing us directly. They're very open, arms open, ready to receive. This is someone you definitely look up to and admire, because it's kind of like figures on a throne, or important figures like an angel, for example, or a magician who's about to perform for you or create a sort of surprise. This is someone you really look up to. Someone who's very special, who almost is a protector to you as well. I think this is someone you'll have to be patient with, because it takes a lot of work to get past this wall that they've almost built up, this illusion, to keep people away because they are afraid of the response that they're gonna get. So it is someone you'll have to be patient with. And I don't think you'll meet them for a while just with that Hanged Man. But I think when you do, they have a very big impact on your life. I'm trying to work out, because I'm really drawn to like the kind of the angel wings here, and then like this crown and throne, and just like this very regal energy. This is someone very special, very big to you. It could be somebody who you've been observing, because the way I see it is like, if you have this big figure in front of you, this is someone who you're watching, who you're like receiving, who you're kind of admiring from afar, because it feels like you're smaller than this person, if that makes sense. Like if kind of in the sense of like humans are like really teeny tiny all down here and there's hundreds of them, and then there's this big angel. Like, that's the energy, and I don't know how to explain that. That's just what I'm getting. This is someone who you're looking up to, almost, who you're impressed by. I think the way they impact you is that you're really inspired by their true nature and who they are. They don't compromise on their boundaries. They stand up for themselves, even if that means going against the grain, going against the status quo, and going against social acceptance, which is a big deal for you, and I think that really has a big impact on you. I also think that this person inspires you to be more social, but be yourself while being social. There's no facade, like they're teaching you that way because that's who they are. So instead of kind of saying yes just to please people, or putting out this image of who you feel you should be, like you should always be your best or whatever, you accept that some days you're gonna just maybe not be your best, so not be as well kind of fitting in with society, but you're being more authentically you, and that is your best version because it's more you. I think this person inspires you to interact with the world in a more genuine, honest way. I think they're gonna have a long impact on you, like a long inspiration of growth. I think this person will be in your life for a long time. They seem like an important figure. I am getting almost like you want to be friends with this person. So it could be a future friend, but I think there's work to be done to open them up to the idea of that. Kitsch chirping. Or trilling, whatever you call it. She's seen a bird and she's trying to call it over. So I am getting like friend vibes almost, but also when I sort of said that colleague thing, that keeps sticking in my mind. So it could be like you see them at work, maybe you work in a big company and so you don't necessarily work directly with them, so you don't have a lot of opportunity to chit chat, but it could be someone who works in your company, that sort of thing for some of you, because this reading will be for a few of you, so it can be different scenarios for all of you. So it could be a friend or a colleague, but it could also just be someone who you've observed. Maybe you never interact with them, maybe you never speak or get to know this person, but you've seen them, you've witnessed this kind of big moment where there's almost like a big showdown and it's inspired you. You've been like, wow, you know what, they stood up for themselves, they really did what was best for them, regardless of, you know, how that might make them look to people who don't have all the angles on the situation, who fully understand what's going on, and don't know the context of why they're behaving that way. But maybe they inspire you, maybe it stuck with you about kind of the injustices of the world, you know, bullying, how it doesn't vibe with you, how you don't want to kind of live in a world where you're acting in a way so that you don't receive that same treatment, if that means oppressing your authentic self. Instead you want to reverse it. So it could just be a figure that you have seen who is inspiring you to act differently, basically act more like yourself. And that will actually help you in a lot of ways, because I think it will help you get what you want out of this world, even if that means maybe not getting the things you thought you wanted, but getting what you actually truly want. So I think it's like you being more authentically you will actually get what your kind of true purpose is here, what you truly want out of this situation. Yeah, I don't know, I am just getting friend vibes here, and I don't know if like I'm just getting long-term friend. I'm also, a secondary thing I keep getting in my mind is that they are almost like the snowball towards more interactions with more new people. Whoever this figure is, whether it's the colleague, a friend, or just someone that has inspired you, who you've kind of observed, it almost unlocks a door, this change that comes in because of this person, for you to meet more people. And I feel like grow a big friend group. That's what I'm kind of seeing. So we have the painter, productivity, creation. We have the waker, awareness and reflection. And we have the priest, perseverance and faith. This is interesting because I'm going to pop this one over here. Because when I was looking at these cards, I don't like to take my readings down a religious route, because I myself am not religious. I'm spiritual but not religious. And yeah, I just, based on my own personal experiences with religion, I just don't like to go there. But there is like a religious theme kind of coming in. Because with the magician, this is so clearly like a Jesus figure. That is clearly what that's mimicking. And then we've got, you know, angels, which is a part of religion as well. We've got this hanged man here who is usually on a cross, which has religious connotations. And it's about sacrifice. And now you've just had the priest. So I did originally want to say, but kind of pushed it aside because I didn't have enough evidence of this, and because of my own personal bias. But I'm going to push my bias aside and say what I was thinking was that this could also be a figure that you, if you're religious, you meet at church, or is your like pastor or something, or is someone there. It could even just be whoever it is that you worship in your religion. Maybe you're learning more about this figure through reading the religious material associated to your religion and learning more about them and being inspired by their story. Or maybe it could be that you're going against the grain of your religion, whatever it is. Maybe you've always felt like you've had to follow that because that's what your family did, your friends did, the people around you, and you're actually watching somebody say, no, actually the way that you've taught me this religion and the way that it's been influencing my life has actually been encroaching on some boundaries. And so I'm not going to do that. And maybe it's helped to open you up to being your authentic self and saying the same if you feel that way, if those feelings have been coming in. If you're not a religious person, for those of you who aren't religious, this can just be going against tradition, going against the grain. So as I said, kind of going against what society kind of expects of you and tries to enforce on you, whatever that looks like to you, whatever type of tradition that is, and doing something unique and kind of off the path. So I feel like for some of you it could be like this person, maybe whoever it is, has inspired you to maybe stop aspiring towards being a homeowner or renting and maybe getting like a tiny home camper van or something and traveling the world. Or it could be that this person or figure, because it could even be like a figure in the media who's maybe building their own camper van, who's inspired you to go and do that yourself. It could be that maybe you were expected to kind of follow the traditional path of like babies and marriage and that sort of thing, and when you've honestly taken a reflective look at yourself, we had reflection here, and kind of opened your eyes, you realise that's not what you want. And so you want to do something different. It could be any type of tradition like that, but you've just decided it's not for you. And there could be more of a creative path waiting for you instead. So maybe something that you've always been inspired by and passionate about, but you never felt like you could truly pursue because people have always said things that kind of belittled or put down that kind of idea that you were eager towards. So it's kind of like blocking out that noise, standing up to it with this sword here. That's kind of being shattered by you standing up for yourself and going after what it is you truly want. And this person, friend, colleague, or just an influence in your life has really inspired you to do that and start working on what matters to you most. And it's going to lead you to a community of friends, of support, just lots of good stuff for you. That's what this kind of connection is bringing. I think you're going to get 4 friends in particular as like a friend group for new friends. So if you've already got, your friends, that's fine, but these are just more people to, come into your life, because I've just pulled the 4 of Cups and the Judgment card has 4 people down here. So I feel like you're going to have like a makeshift family almost from this situation that is kind of divinely approved of. Here with the angel again, you're very divinely protected on whatever this choice is, whatever this change is. This growth that happens for you, where you become more authentically yourself and start being more driven towards your passions, is a very divinely protected path. And you're always aspiring for more. Even if your cups are full, even if you have everything you need on the surface, why can't you also get that other thing you want? So it's like you have this spark now because of this person, because that is exactly how they live, this friend figure that I'm seeing for you. And I kind of see, when I'm looking at these 4 figures, I see these as all of the friends kind of coming in for you. Or I suppose this one, because this is the Hound. And I like that their face is blurred, because it's like you don't know who this person is. They're a mystery to you. And they only kind of get revealed once you meet. If this isn't someone who's like influenced you through media, if that makes sense. If this is a person who you're going to meet you definitely don't know who they are. And I think it will be a while before you meet, but once you do, this is a connection that's going to have a lot of longevity. There's lots of loyalty, strong bonds, strong connections. It's kind of like you're paired up and that's it. you're locked in. So that's kind of what I'm seeing for you, pile 1. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for another reading or tarot related video on TìandTarot. Bye. Okay, hello my pile 2s, welcome to your reading. So you chose the Amber and you also chose the Guide with Inheritance and Correction. Okay, and let's see your tarot cards. So, ooh, lovely, okay. So we have the Sun card and we also have the Queen of Wands. Okay, this person, whoever they are, is independent. They're a free spirit. They've got this lovely energy. I think they could even be a little bit like spiritual / kooky. Like not like spiritual, like really like devoted to a sort of practice, but kind of like wishy-washy, in and out, like, you know, a little bit like they might have like dream catchers and tarot cards and crystals, but not necessarily have like a spiritual practice kind of thing. So very free spirit, they do what they want kind of thing. They've got this very childlike energy, like this kind of admirable like immaturity. It's like really sweet and funny and endearing. They just go after what they want and they try and have as much fun in life as possible because that's what they see as most valuable in life. You know, they're here for a good time, not a long time. So they do whatever they feel called to do in the moment. If that's get up and do karaoke, which might be something you would never dream of doing because of embarrassment, they don't care about that. They don't give a shit. Okay, they're gonna get up and do it. Like, this person is very just go with it. Don't worry about embarrassment. Act now, worry later, you know, or worry never. They're very, they're not someone who stresses. They're not somebody who cares about the rules, or cares about repercussions. They just go with the flow. That's also why I think I'm seeing all these keys that I'm seeing in the guide. It's almost like no door is closed off to them. They can unlock anything they want because they are not hindered by fear of perception or fear of being corrected or being embarrassed by anything. They are completely ruled by what feels best for them, and they've got a fantastic inner compass, so they're not going to do anything reckless or dangerous or silly. They're just going to do things that are, you know, safe to do, fun to do, that don't harm anybody else, that don't harm themselves, but things that bring them joy. Like I sort of said, karaoke, or for example like getting on a carousel in the middle of winter and it's just them on it and they're like a grown-up, so everyone might be judging them, but who gives a shit, you know? They're just going to do what they want. And because of that, this person has so much success drawn to them, so much energy. People are just drawn in. I think you're drawn in, to be honest. I think you might be drawn into their energy, and I think when people are drawn to them, they kind of get hung up on this person because they just have this, like, they're quite elusive, they're hard to catch, they're hard to get a hold of. And so what ends up happening is when people kind of fall in love with this person or get drawn into their energy, they're kind of ensnared for life. Like, even if the relationship ends, this could be a friendship, you know, romantic relationships, whatever it is. I'm not talking about your connection with them, I'm talking about their connections with others. Whatever type of connection it is, people never forget them. People are always kind of hung up on them, wondering where they are, what they're up to, wishing they could be a part of it. This person just has this like brilliance about their energy. They're very eye-catching. This is a very beautiful person as well, but they're a bit of an enigma. They're mysterious to people. They're hard to get a hold of. It's kind of like they're a shooting star that you get a glimpse of once in a lifetime, and then you always wonder if that wish will ever come true. It's just like they're so hard to get a hold of. They're always moving, they're always flowing, they're always on to the next thing. This person, I just got something, and this could be completely wrong, but I'm gonna say it. and then we're gonna park it to the side for a bit because it might resonate with some of you, but for some of you it might not, and that's fine. This could be an ancestor of yours whose energy you've inherited. And that might be hard for you to accept because it's like, it can be hard for some people to hear that they are this wonderful, amazing energy, but it could be something you've inherited because we have the guide here. And I think the reason why this is who you're meeting next is because this is a spiritual guide that you're going to meet. It doesn't have to be like a scary thing, like you're alone in your room and then boom, there's a ghost. Like, it's not, you know, it doesn't have to be like that. But it's more like they're around you, whether you're aware of it or not, kind of inspiring you to have this energy of theirs. To then all of a sudden start unlocking all of these doors and have all of this good stuff coming in. They're freeing you of those kind of ties that would limit you in life by giving you a little bit of their spiritual energy. That's one thing that I was getting there. But let's ask the tarot cards to see who this person is. We'll see if this is for you guys a spiritual ancestor or if this is somebody else. So it's probably a spiritual ancestor, guys, because you have the Empress. But we'll see. And we're seeing lots of thrones, lots of crowns. Ooh, the Two of Cups. I love that. Okay, so we have the Two of Wands, the Ace of Cups, the Six of Wands, the Seven of Swords, and the Fool card. For some of you, this is definitely a spiritual journey that you're going on, because I'm seeing the dog in the Fool card, which is the guardian of the Fool as they go on this journey. And this person kind of looks like, you know, they're stepping off the cliff, but if you can see, they've actually got a flower in their hand. And this flower is kind of exploding into dozens of petals that are floating off into the sky, which is so giving that scene in Practical Magic where she wishes on a moon to have like her perfect dream guy, because she knows if she wishes on this like perfect figure that just cannot possibly exist, that she'll never die of a broken heart kind of thing. But then the universe is like, joke's on you, bitch, here he is. So that's so interesting. This is definitely a spiritual figure. They're definitely coming in and doing that for you. So it's like, for example, this person, let's say they're you, this Fool, starting this brand new journey. You might wish for things that you want to come into your life, thinking they're never going to happen. And meanwhile, your spirit guide, who is an ancestor of yours, who has this brilliant energy, who they have passed down to you, who they look at you and they see themselves in you. And they're like, this is just me, but younger, like getting another shot at life. They see themselves in you and they admire you, so they're supporting you in this journey. And when you make these wishes, they're like, okay, here you go. And you might not get it in the way that you think you will, but you will get it with all these keys. All these doors are now open to you because you've got a spiritual connection working on the other side in your favour, helping you out, doing things that needs to be done. Maybe even wishing on a star could work for you, a shooting star. But they are supporting you and they are here with you, 100%. One of the things you could wish for is love, with the Two of Cups here and also the Ace of Cups. And with this spiritual guide that you are going to meet, or who is going to be the next new person or figure in your life, they're going to help you out with that. They're going to make that come true for you, if that's something you've been wishing for. Because I pulled the Two of Cups, then I pulled the Two of Wands. So there is this emphasis on pairings. Whatever it is you're asking for that needs to be a pair, that's coming true for you. They're going to help you to up-level your life by embracing this energy that they have. Because it's like you have this energy of theirs. but it might have been kind of distorted or squished down a little bit by life, environmental things, especially with this Seven of Swords. There's like a need to walk away from a way of being or a type of environment that didn't fit with you and didn't allow for this beautiful, brilliant energy to flourish within you. So they're helping you to figure that out and walk away from that and kind of put yourself first, put your boundaries first, and allow this true, genuine, authentic, lovely, beautiful energy to flourish with this kind of aura around this dove here. This is the true you, and they want to let that out. And with the circle there, this is definitely a connection with you and a spirit guide. It's like this continual circle, this continual cycle. It's almost like this type of person, like you and like this ancestor, is supposed to replicate each century. There's supposed to be someone like you in this world, kind of bringing this lovely energy into it. So it's almost like your existence is also fulfilling this kind of prophecy, or fulfilling this destiny, I suppose, or this fate. And once you walk away from whatever it is that's kind of oppressing this energy and allows you to open and flourish, so that could just be a way of thinking. Maybe you don't think you can be your authentic self and be out there and be who you are. But once you let go of all that and you actually are yourself, this spirit guide is helping you to claim the fate or the destiny you were supposed to have, which is where you are admired, where you are celebrated, where you are rewarded for the efforts you put into things, where people appreciate you, where you have honor and glory. It's almost like the both of you in both of your lives were expected to be one type of way. Maybe you were expected to do things in a way that always benefited others, because something about the Empress is that she helps everybody, she's in sync with everybody, she's connected to everything and nature and everyone, and if she doesn't take care of herself or let her authentic self out, she falls out of sync with these things. And that can have a ripple negative effect not only on her but also on others. And so maybe others that are aware of this have warped and changed the way you express yourself, so that you never admit to that burnout or admit to falling out of sync with things, so that you're always benefiting them, your existence is always benefiting them. And it's kind of like the same thing happened to her as well, and I'm getting a her vibe. And so you need help out of that situation. You need to be your authentic self and be in an environment that allows that to flourish, so that you can feel better within yourself and then interact with the world and nature around you and connect with things in a more authentic, true, better way, in a way that allows you to flourish and the world around you and nature around you to flourish. Something that makes you fall into sync with everything else rather than out of sync with it. And she had the exact same time of it. She had the same experiences, very similar traumas, very similar environmental struggles, or family dynamics, friend dynamics, relationship dynamics, which is exactly why she's come in to help you out. It's almost like she's giving you the power you need to get out of this situation, because if you can see here, this figure has this like staff, I suppose, or wand. And then down here, this figure also has one. But she's not actually taken a hold of it yet. Her hands are like this. The staff is just directly behind her hand. And she also doesn't have the luxury of having like a spirit guide. So this is you pre-meeting her. She's going to be your spirit guide. And she's going to get you to this place, where instead of kind of this formal kind of stance, because this Empress here looks quite resigned to her post. Very at peace, but just very, you know, this is where I am, this is how my life is, I have a lot of weight and responsibility on my head that I have to take care of. And over here, you've almost been freed from that weight, that responsibility. This person's so much more carefree. Even in the way they dress, it's more colourful, there's more patterns, more vibrancy, more expression. And now they also have a spirit guide supporting them. So it's like once you walk away from this type of atmosphere where you're resigned to your post, resigned to what has been given to you in life, instead you're changing it. So it's like I was reading this book about stress, and it was kind of like, it's not what you carry, it's how you carry it. And in my mind immediately I thought of like, if someone handed you a shopping bag when you were younger, like if you're like walking up the hill with your mum after like going shopping in Asda or something, and you get given a shopping bag, that bag is like really heavy. But if you had another bag and you put half the shopping in that bag and Okay, hello everybody. Sorry about that. My camera died and actually lost the whole end of this reading, so I'm going to tell you what I remember of it. What I was kind of in the process of saying before was that, you know, if you distributed those items across 2 bags, it would be so much easier to carry, or if you decided to put those items in a rucksack, it would be so much easier to carry. So it's not like you're walking away from all your responsibilities. This spirit guide is just helping you to see a new way of dealing with them and interacting with them with more authenticity. And once this happens, that's when you get to be your true self. And I then kind of went on to say that it's kind of like in Monsters Inc. when the focus is that the way they get energy from the children is by scaring them. And it was only when, you know, Boo came into their lives and a child laughed and she laughed, and you saw that all of a sudden they had this massive energy surge. They got way more energy than they usually would, filling up in the canisters. All the doors all of a sudden went green, where it was like ding 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 ding, and all the doors kind of opened. And this is like all of these doors of opportunities opening for you the second you step into your authentic light and you change the way that you're handling things, or the way you interact with the world and connect with everything, the way you deal with responsibilities. Instead of there being a focus on scaring the children to get energy, there's a focus on joy, on happiness, and that's what your focus is shifting to. That's what your spirit guide is helping you shift to. And also, you will go on, once you claim this true path, this destiny you are supposed to claim, you will go on to be this next spirit guide for your, you know, great niece or great nephew or great cousin or whatever, whoever. You will go on to do the same thing, because it's like a repeating cycle with all these circles here. That's supposed to happen. You're supposed to kind of receive this gift from your spirit guide and also pass that gift on continually. And also, the way I described the spirit guide in the beginning of the reading, yes, that is that person's personality, but it is also your true authentic self too. So remember that when you're trying to find your way back to your authentic self. So that was your reading, pile 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for another reading on TìandTarot. Bye. Hello pile 3, welcome to your reading. So you chose the red tiger's eye and the champion. By the way, tiger's eye is a protection crystal, so there's also that energy on your pile. And we have the keywords achievement and downfall. And these are your tarot cards. So we have the Page of Swords. We have the Ace of Wands. Would help if I flipped it. And we have the 5 of Pentacles. There's something really key about this person, which is that they're always ready to initiate, to act on what they want, to go after what feels like is their most desire. By the way, if you can hear Kit eating in the background, that's because she is. And I think that something else that's quite key about this person, not only do they kind of have this spark, this drive to always take action and go after what it is they truly desire, but their lifestyle is the complete opposite of yours. So whatever yours looks like, especially in terms of finances and your career, whatever your life kind of looks like, theirs is the complete opposite. Because with the 5 of Pentacles here, there's 2 figures holding hands together, and this kind of makes me think that, especially because they've got different coloured like halos, this one has a yellow one, this one has a pink one, this one's got a blue dress, this one's got a pink dress. It's like 2 best friends but living completely different lifestyles on completely different paths. That's what it reminds me of. Like, you can be friends with anybody but be so different. Like, you know, they're just the way you would spend your free time, your holidays, what you do with the money that you get in each month, how you use that, how you live your lifestyle could be completely different, but you could still be really close. So I'm getting like a closeness and a bondedness and a tie here to this person, but you are very different people. So that's something I'm getting. I also think they're a little bit defensive, this person. I think the achievement and downfall is interesting because this could be about them and their flip to what they are passionate about to then all of a sudden dropping it, no longer caring. Or it could be that this person's connection to you is quite quick and short-lived. Okay, so we got a lot of cards here. So we got Justice. Interesting. I'll talk about that in a second. So we have the Hermit as well. We have the Seven of Pentacles. We have the Ten of Wands. We have the Death card. And we have the Four of Wands. Okay, interesting. So there are big differences between the two of you, whoever this person is to you, and we'll get into who they are to you as well. But there are big differences. I think, especially with that Justice card, the person holding the sword and the scales, they're blindfolded, so they can't see justice. They can't see the situation properly in order to dish out justice appropriately, and we can see there's disproportion there. One scale is lower than the other, one scale is higher, and we were getting an imbalance here. There's an imbalance between the two of you. It could be financial and like a lifestyle imbalance. It could also not be those things. It could just be like fundamental differences, but these differences are causing quite a big shift between the two of you, a big difference, because we've got achievement and downfall. Those are two very different ends of the scale. And then here we've got the Seven of Pentacles, kind of working hard, growing what you're making. And then we have the Ten of Wands, where there's like burnout, carrying more than you should, always feeling like you're on the bottom end or the receiving end of just negativity. And so to me, this is kind of saying that there are really big differences between the two of you that might be quite hard to work through. And so there could be two outcomes here with this new person. It could be that a change is required, a shift maybe in your lifestyle or their lifestyle, or your beliefs or their beliefs, in order for this connection to work well. It could be that you guys just complement each other very well, but I'm getting a sense of like a clash almost. And that could either lead to this connection not lasting very long, or it could lead to a point where either you or they or both of you reach a point where you can no longer ignore the obvious, and if a big change is needed, if a big change is required, it must be made. And it's almost like if you've been putting off a massive change, it has to come in. And this situation, this relationship is forcing that acknowledgement and that change and that growth. We have the Storyteller, viewpoints and control. So the difference could definitely be in your outlook, your views, your world views. Maybe one of you wants to force the other one to agree with them on something, and either the forcer kind of has to go on this hermit mode learning journey to recognize they can't force people into things, or the other person the other person has to go on a soul searching journey, like with the hermit, a journey of knowledge, change, growth, to recognize that that viewpoint that the other person was being so controlling about is something they should probably accept. And I think that's why it's hard here with Justice. No one's quite in the right, no one's quite in the wrong. you're almost both right and both wrong about each other, and there needs to be a bit more understanding as well as change and growth on both sides. So I think this person was definitely fated to come into your life, and you were fated to come into theirs to help each other grow and change for the better. It's like you're both at this kind of starting point and change needs to happen. We have the Thief, seizing the moment and selfishness. That's interesting because there was something about that somewhere. Let me look at this. Definitely with Thief we get more of that imbalance because it's like pre-theft. Everyone has what belongs to them, and they have taken something causing this great imbalance. They've taken some weight off the scale and it's caused it to all kind of move. So it almost seems like the truth of this situation isn't quite matching up with the reality. We've got the shadows on the walls creating this scene of like a giraffe with a wolf or a wolf pup, and then here we're just seeing hands, you know, and then we're seeing Thief here with this illusion of taking, but that might not necessarily be the case. So it could be that with this connection it maybe feels like they're draining you in some kind of way, or taking something from you, or not reciprocating a generous energy that you're applying, but they might feel the same way about you. And so it's not necessarily that you're wrong or that you're right, it's that you're kind of both right and wrong at the same time about the situation, because maybe you're both stealing, you're both, you know, you're both casting shadows on that wall, you're both exaggerating the truth a little bit. So it's almost like there's something going on here where maybe it's just a deep misunderstanding, but it's speaking to a really deep wound within the both of you. This misunderstanding is speaking to a deeper wound, and this connection is going to help you grow from that. This is a learning relationship. This new person coming into your life is a learning opportunity. It's kind of like, let's say you were friends with someone who was really wealthy and you're not that wealthy, and they keep inviting you out to restaurants that you cannot afford, and you keep reiterating you'd like to go to a cheaper one, but they keep taking you there because they're like, this is cheap to them, right? So you might see that as targeted, but to them that is, in their honest opinion, a cheap restaurant. But it's just different world views and point of view. So it's hard to sort of say, yes, you're doing that intentionally, versus they genuinely just don't know what cheap is because they're so out of touch. So it's almost like something like that, like a deep misunderstanding there that's causing some sort of tension between the two of you. Oh yes, taking command with captain and teamwork. Interesting. I think one of you, could be you, but one of you in this scenario, in this pairing, has this kind of controlling streak that I think at first point is seen as very controlling, and probably is. So again, it's that thing of not quite right but not quite wrong. Yes, you might have the best intentions, but you're also being controlling. But you both recognise, once you've gone through this hermit introspection phase, that controllingness is also quite helpful in some areas. Whoever is the one being controlling realises they need to cool it a little bit, and the other person who was on the receiving end of that is like, okay, cool it, but maybe utilise it in a different way. And so we've got the captain here, someone's taking command, but there is a teamwork. So it's no longer bossy and like, you do this, and very controlling and, you know, I'm telling you do this. Instead, it's like coming together and being like, you know what, I'm a really good organiser and I can see situations and see what we need to do. How about I present the options? We see if that works. If not, we brainstorm and then we action that together. Like, they're helping you take more action and be a more active participant in something, to actually be the engineer rather than the ideas man, and you're helping them to be more of a collaborative person, an ideas person, someone who slows it down and thinks before acting. I think that's kind of the dynamic going on here. You both have a lot to add to each other's lives, but it's just about finding harmony of how these two opposing forces mesh and balance and blend well together, or else it can feel really restrictive if that change isn't sort of initiated. We have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Fool in reverse. We have the Empress upright. And we have the Queen of Wands. Okay, I shuffled these. Honestly, I shuffled them good. And yet you've got about 3 cards that were in pile 2. So if you were drawn there, you might want to check it out. But this is a very different reading because I'm still trying to figure out who this person is. So that's why I've pulled these extra cards. And we've got this kind of inheritance card in reverse. Of solid foundations, of building something with stability. So this is a very unstable relationship. I don't think this is like a family member, because it's nothing to do with inheritance. We've got the Fool in reverse. Whoever this person is, I think they're very pretty. Just as a side note, I think they're very beautiful. They have the potential to collaborate with you really well. It's funny because you've both got these energies where it's like, if it blends well, it will be beautiful. If you don't find a way to communicate in a way that makes this fit, you can be complete opposites and really rub each other the wrong way and just not get along. It can be like very intense on both ends of the scale. With the Queen of Wands there, it's kind of like you're both used to being independent, so coming together is quite hard. This could be a partner, because it's almost like if you're used to being single or alone for a very long time, and then you meet someone and things are going well, but then you start to realise you have to start making compromises that you're not used to, and so you're like, I don't want this. It's kind of like that. Like, for example, if things were going well, you've been together for a while now, you try all living together, and them living with you, like their style of how they would keep their home as an independent person is very different to how you would keep your home as an independent person. You know, they might be someone who puts the dishes in the sink and leaves them overnight, and you might be someone who, I don't know, likes to decorate the room in very monochrome colours, and they like lots of rainbows and bright things, and so it's almost like this really hard meshing where it's like you have to work together as a team, collaborate on the things that are your strengths, instead of trying to be controlling and just take charge of the situation, and if things aren't going your way, do it anyway because you're used to being independent. You can't do that once you've become this pair. If you want the journey to move, if you want this adventure to work, you have to find a way to balance this scale. You can't leave things unequal or unfair, because then it won't work. Then it will feel very restrictive, and eventually you'll get to a point where this kind of champion energy, this feeling like you've won, this sense of achievement is now your downfall. If you want to build something solid with this person, if you want it to work, you have to work in harmony together while also honouring who you are. Because if you don't honour yourself and put yourself forward as something to value here, the harmony can't work. You both have to care about yourselves equally as much as you care about each other, and prioritise both of those things in order to make this collaboration work well. Now that we know this is a relationship, I'm pulling a few more cards just for a little bit more info. A romantic relationship. Okay, so yes, I think with the Masquerade, hiding your true self and projection, and the Three of Wands, there's definitely work that needs to be done here, because it's almost like, I think all of the piles have had this message, but you're kind of hiding your authentic self a little bit. We've got this shrouded figure hiding behind this sword, we've got this sun hiding behind this wand. Two energies are kind of not coming to the forefront because you almost feel like you have to project a certain type of being in order to get your way or to get your feelings across, to feel like you need to be heard. You have to kind of change things or change the way it's seen. Like, you might have an interaction with this person and go and tell your friends how it happened, and you've told a completely different story, or vice versa. and you almost feel like you have to do this for some reason, or you feel like you have to put on a front of who you are, almost to play out a role or play out how you think it should go, and that is causing a lot of friction here. And if you actually removed the mask and were just your true self, but admitted maybe some darker shadows that are going on to yourself and to this person, you could both do the work, and that's for both of you to do. You could both do the work, inner work you need to do in order to work better as a team as well. I asked how long this is gonna kind of go, this relationship, and we've got the Knight of Wands, which is very fast. So that could mean it's over very quickly, but it can also mean that it happens very quickly. This person comes into your life very quickly. And that could be why there's a lot of work to do, because it's almost like you don't really know each other, because it just everything moves so fast. And then we also had the Walker, the Unknown, and a Journey in reverse. So because we're getting twice this full card of lack of movement, technically with the Walker, but then we're getting the birds pairing. What this basically means is, if you want this to progress, if you would like it to be a long connection, that is within your power and your capability, yours and theirs. It's up to both of you if you're willing to put the work in to do that, and also it's up to both of you if you even want that, you know. But yeah, that is the next person kind of coming in for you, how they're going to sort of impact your life. They're going to cause this massive period of positive growth, positive change. So really, really good in that sense. Even if this relationship isn't one you want forever or doesn't work out, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's helped you on your personal journey to grow. But if, you know, it does work out, again, you've still managed that personal growth journey. So it's still like a really good positive thing going on here. It's good to get heads up on these kind of imbalances, so that when this person comes into your life, you're aware of this and you know how to kind of start working on things to make it fit. But that was your reading, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for another reading on Tea and Tarot.